constitutional right granted to women under Roe v. Wade to make our own decisions about the most personal health care choices. And I cannot thank enough my friend, another woman of courage, former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, for being here. She and her wonderful husband, Mark Kelly, have been on a mission to bring about common sense gun safety reforms. And together, we're going to accomplish that mission, Gabby. And finally, I want to thank and really salute my friend and senator from New York, Kirsten Gillibrand, who has taken on some very difficult issues in the Senate for, again, all of us, but particularly for women. And she's been on the front lines day after day making change. She knows you don't get up, you don't make a speech, and everything changes. She knows you got to work it every single hour of every single day. Like me, she is a progressive who likes to get things done for the people she represents. Now, it's very exciting to be with all of you on the eve of the New York primary. I am so grateful for the chance I had to represent this state for 8 years. The people of New York took a chance on me in 2000. You sent me to the Senate. We worked together. We dealt with the horrors of 9/11 together. We worked to bring opportunity to inner city areas and upstate rural areas, and it was the greatest honor of my life to represent you in the Senate. And I want you to know that New York had my back, and I always tried to have your back. And I will again, if I'm so fortunate enough to be elected your president. Now, I am focused on the issues that really matter to everybody. To some, an issue or two might be more important than others, but if you look at them all, they are interlocking and intersectional. They are really about whether or not we're going to produce positive results in people's lives. They are about whether or not we're going to defend the rights we already have against a concerted assault on every one of them. They are about whether we will be united as a country or continue to be divided by those who gain from that division. So let me just spend a few minutes talking about how connected this all is. I'm going to talk mostly about women's issues, but I want you to understand how I see them and how committed I am to making the case that when we take a right from someone, when we erode it, when we make it impossible to exercise, then we hurt everybody, not just those who are directly affected. So think with me for a minute about the kind of America we want to create together. Imagine a tomorrow where we do have enough good jobs with raised incomes. Everybody gets a raise. Everybody who works hard gets rewarded. How does that happen? It happens by making sure that the government is playing a role in creating those jobs, jobs in infrastructure, advanced manufacturing, clean renewable energy, and small businesses that we're going to grow and create more jobs from. This is not a pipe dream, my friends. This is doable. We just have to make up our minds that we're going to have an election about it. It is easy. It is easy to diagnose the problems facing America. We need solutions that we work together to achieve. That's why throughout this campaign, I've been laying out the plans for how we're going to do this, what we will achieve together. Now, I know some people have commented. I do pay attention. On very little sleep, but nevertheless, I do. Some people have commented like, oh my gosh, enough with the plans, Hilary. We don't want to hear any more plans. Just go out and make speeches. Now, don't talk too loudly, but don't talk too softly. Well, look, I want you to know that for me, this election's not just about me. It's about an agenda that we present to New York tomorrow, that we present to the country, that we vote on, because that will give us a chance to actually make the progress we all want to see. And what I'm focused on is breaking down the barriers that stand in the way of people getting ahead and staying ahead. And of course, there are economic barriers. That has to be one of our highest priorities, creating those jobs, raising those incomes, raising the minimum wage at the national level. Absolutely has to be at the top of our list. But you know, economic barriers are not the only ones that Americans are facing today. Take the issue of equal pay for equal work. Now, if it were just an economic barrier, we would still not be talking about it. But it's more than that. When you actually look and compare why women are still not being paid equally for the work we do, some of it is just not explainable other than good old-fashioned discrimination. And what you heard Cecile say is absolutely right. There is no woman's discount when we go to check out at the supermarket counter. You know, I've been shopping a long time. And I've never been looked at by a cashier and said, well, okay, you're a white woman, you only have to pay 78 cents. Or my friends, you know, you're a black woman, you're a Latino woman, you don't have to pay the full freight, you can pay 65 or 55. That doesn't happen. So this is not just a woman's issue, this is a family issue. If you have a mother, a wife, a sister, a daughter who are working, you have a stake in making sure they are paid equally. And when you think about how hard it is in our country, the richest country in the world, in fact, doing much better economically than anybody else right now, when you think about how hard it is to be able to balance work and family, you have to ask yourself, why are we doing this to each other? Every other advanced economy has figured out how to have family leave, paid family leave. I started working on family leave way back in the 1980s. And I was thrilled when my husband passed a bill that had been vetoed twice by President George H.W. Bush. Let us not forget, this is not ancient Roman history. It was not that long ago that even the idea of unpaid family leave was considered a bridge too far. Vetoed twice, so Bill became president. The Congress passed it, sent it to him, he signed it, and 200 million plus people have taken advantage of it. So that was a good first step. But too many people couldn't take advantage of it. They couldn't take off time that they weren't paid for. That new baby, that sick spouse, that ailing mother or grandparent, they couldn't take time off. And it is time for us, and Kirsten's been a leader on this, it is time for us, finally, to pass paid family leave. And I will tell you, this is something that is moving forward in the states. I want to applaud New York, applaud California, which has been doing it for more than 10 years. And as your president, we are going to deliver on paid family leave for the families of America. We also have to really focus on education. Again, that's an issue for everybody. That's why I want early childhood education for everybody. And Charlene McRae is here. I want to thank her and Mayor de Blasio for making sure that New York City has universal pre-K. This is an issue about whether or not we honor and nurture the potential of everyone. I think that's what America should be about. Every single person deserves the chance to live up to his or her God-given potential. And learning starts in those first 5 years. And then once we get to elementary and secondary school, I intend to be a good partner with America's teachers, to support our educators, to make sure we're doing what will work to lift up our children. And let's spend more time trying to encourage young people, particularly young girls, to go into the STEM courses, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. There are so many opportunities that are not being taken advantage of. And yes, again, just 30 plus years ago, we had a very high percentage of women graduating from college with degrees in computer sciences. What happened? Well, some of what happened is the way women were treated in the workforce when they got into technology. Right now, we know, looking at salaries and promotion opportunities, it's not equal. So while we encourage more young women to pursue these careers, we're going to work to get more transparency and more of a commitment from companies to treat women and men equally as they hire, as they promote. And we're going to make college affordable for everybody in a way that will actually work to send middle class and working and poor family kids to school. And we're going to tackle the student debt problem, which is burdening so many young people. We want more national service so that young people can perform national service and actually get a free ride or a totally discounted ride or get their debts forgiven by performing that kind of work. And we're going to continue to improve the Affordable Care Act. I will defend it. It is working. We've got to improve it, get the cost down. But again, this is something that is hardly ever talked about. It was not that long ago when clinical trials about how to treat diseases, including breast cancer, were only done on men. You know, I know a lot of young people must be shocked to hear that. I was shocked when I first heard it. And so we had to change a lot. And now we have the Affordable Care Act. And one of the great changes was to absolutely guarantee that women would no longer pay more for our health insurance than men. So, all of these battles, you've got members of Congress here who have been waging these battles. My great friend, Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, has been on the front lines. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee has been waving the banner high. I know it's hard to believe there were ever a time like this. We just don't ever want to go back. That's why it's so important to think about how far we've come to protect the gains we have made. And we still have disparities in healthcare treatment between men and women, but also particularly on the basis of income and access. And we're going to tackle all of that, and we're going to get the cost of prescription drugs down for everybody. And let's finally make a commitment to treating mental health problems like the healthcare issues they represent are. And let's do more and you know, let's do more to treat addiction. Let's do more to save lives. There's really exciting work ahead of us. And practically everything I've said is opposed by the Republicans. They don't think we need to raise the minimum wage. Donald Trump says wages are too high in America right now. They don't believe equal pay is a problem. They sure don't want to move toward paid family leave. So this is not just a free choice. There are consequences for how we vote and the agenda we put forward. And the other point about what's happening with the Republicans, as I mentioned earlier, is they truly want to strip us of the rights we already have.